In today's video, I want to take you guys through some great Nintendo Switch eShop deals, and a fantastic platformer has been announced for the Nintendo Switch. At least it looks fantastic, definitely has a unique visual style. We'll talk that at the end of this video. But first of all, let's look at some deals. We've got Kill la Kill IF on the eShop for $10, which I think is pretty good. This game wasn't perfect, but if you're a fan of Kill la Kill, you are going to end up enjoying it. Kill la Kill was one of those anime franchises that I ended up enjoying way more than I thought I would. When I originally looked at the look of the game, of the show, I should say, I wasn't all that enthralled by it, but people kept hyping it up, and yeah, it did end up exceeding my expectations quite a bit. And the game itself, just as any anime usually is, or I should say anime game usually is, pretty good if you are a fan, and for $10, I don't think it's bad. Darkest Dungeon, $15, a fantastic game. Darkest Dungeon has gotten a very positive reception over on PC, and that's where I spent the bulk of my time playing it. It's a challenging gothic roguelike turn-based RPG, and if you're a fan of games that are a bit more on the more difficult side, this is one that's going to be right up your alley. However, it's not for the faint of heart. There's a lot of things you have to ascertain with this game, and it can get frustrating at times, but if you stay committed, it also becomes incredibly addicting. I think $15 is a pretty good buy. You've got BlazBlue Central Friction, a special edition, Central Fiction, I should say, 1950. BlazBlue is without a doubt the fighting game franchise that really hits home with me the most. BlazBlue is the game that I got super into with Calamity Trigger back in 2009, so I'm gonna be always having a soft spot with these games. Central Fiction is a good game. 1950 I think is solid. Guys, also BlazBlue, its storyline is so effing crazy. Like, I don't know if I should be high on the storyline and say positive things about it, or if it's just gotten to the point where it's so wacky that it's like funny, but yeah, the story's interesting if nothing else. The visual style is obviously fantastic. A lot of colorful and different styles of characters. They're all very, very unique from one another. That's what that really stood out for me with Calamity Trigger. I remember when I picked up Calamity Trigger, there was only like 12 characters or something like that. 12 or 14 characters, maybe even less. Don't remember off the top of my head, but then when I played the game, I was like, oh my god, they are so distinct from one another that you understand, yeah, okay, quality over quantity in terms of the roster with the original BlazBlue. Now, obviously, the roster has expanded quite a bit, and you've got a lot of different characters to pick from. Alright, Chasm is down to $8. This is a game that I was really excited for, and it wasn't a perfect game. It actually had quite a bit of issues, but it still overall is a pretty good game. It's not worth the initial $19.99, but at $7.99, I think it's a much better game. If you're a fan of Metroidvania-style games with an old-school visual style, check it out. I do think you'll enjoy it at $8. Guilty Gear games are also discounted. I'll just mention the first Guilty Gear game is down to $6.90. Obviously, while I don't have the affinity that I do with Guilty Gear that I do for BlazBlue, Guilty Gear was actually the first fighting game I ever played. Now, I said BlazBlue was the first fighting game I got super into. That is true. Guilty Gear, I never ended up, trying to get good at the game. I just kind of liked the look of the characters, and we went from there. And you'll notice Guilty Gear characters and BlazBlue characters got something a little bit similar. Some of them look a little similar when you look at, the main two characters. Nevertheless, $6.90 for Guilty Gear 1. Maybe it's a shout worth having, and you want to check it out. A couple of the other Guilty Gear games are discounted as well, so another fighting game option. Also do want to mention that a physical copy of The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 3 Extracurricular Edition is down to $47.99. It's out right now, so it came out literally a month ago, so you can save $12 on it. 20% off, not a steep discount, but this I imagine is going to hold its price for quite a while, so you can check that out right now. And lastly, I do want to note that the masocore platformer Oku no Ka Madness has been announced for PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. This is one that's got a distinct hand-drawn visual style. It evolves the original game's blend of challenging platform speedrunning when once again sees you play as Ka, a diminutive blue creature who sets out on a journey to save the world from souls of evil. This game immediately stood out to me from a visual standpoint. I didn't even know that there was a predecessor to this title, but it's got a great look to it. It's a hardcore platformer. If you're a fan of platformers, definitely one to keep your eyes on. But that's going to conclude this video. Again, check out all of those deals, pretty good ones. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.